In a world full of people, we look for ways to connect. We go about our busy days, but we often wish for something more. We want to feel close to others, to have meaningful conversations that make us feel understood. We want to understand each other, to share a look or a nod that says, "I get it." These small things can bring us together even if we don't know each other. It makes us feel like we belong, like we're all part of something bigger. But some connections are even deeper than a touch or words. They go beyond what we can see and hear. These connections touch our hearts and souls. They're like silent conversations where we understand each other without saying a word. We feel these connections in our hearts, in our spirits. We feel them when we're quiet and thoughtful, when we're comfortable being silent together. These connections make us strong and give us comfort when we're sad. These are the connections of true friendship. They last through time and distance, no matter how far apart we are. These friendships grow from shared beliefs and a journey we take together in our hearts. They remind us that we are not alone. Even when the world feels lonely, these connections make us feel like we belong. They remind us that we're part of something bigger than ourselves, connected to everyone else. We are all part of something bigger. Our lives are connected like threads in a giant tapestry. Each thread is important, and together we create something beautiful and strong. In India, where spirituality is part of everyday life, a special friendship grew. Among the bright colors and traditions, two people found a connection that went beyond their differences in culture and religion. They were drawn together by a shared sense of spirituality and respect for each other's beliefs. It was a connection that didn't need them to be in the same place. Even though they practiced their faiths differently, they found common ground in their devotion and search for truth. Their friendship showed the power of faith and proved that true connection can exist between anyone. Their bond was strengthened by their shared commitment to their spiritual paths and their understanding and respect for one another. It was a friendship built on trust and love, a connection that ran very deep. It was a love story, not in the romantic way, but in the spiritual. It was the story of two souls finding each other across the universe, two hearts beating together despite the distance. It reminded us that true connection isn't limited by time or space. It goes beyond all boundaries. Sister Annika lived a quiet life of prayer and reflection. She lived in a convent with other nuns. She spent her days in prayer, often thinking of her father. Prayer gave her comfort and peace, especially when she prayed for her father who had passed away. God was the center of her life, and she believed her father was with God praying for her.
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. She always cried for him, praying to God to heal him from the blood cancer that took him. She wanted to make a difference in the lives of others, just as her father had inspired her to do. Life is a journey, not a destination. She believed that both she and her father would have a fruitful life ahead in prayer and spiritual activities. The world outside seemed so far away, but her faith kept her connected to her father and to God.
Aaron lived a very different life, even though they were in the same country. His life was noisy and busy, full of car horns and crowded markets. He was a successful businessman, dealing with the challenges of the modern world. But deep down, he felt a spiritual emptiness.
He wanted something more. He looked for answers in old scriptures. He found peace in quiet moments. He wished for someone to guide him on his spiritual journey.
One day, Arun accidentally dialed the wrong number. He dialed again, realizing his mistake, but something made him keep listening.
A calm and peaceful voice answered. It was Sister Annika. She was expecting a call from another nun.
Arun apologized for calling by mistake. But as they talked, they felt a connection. They talked about their beliefs, their questions, and their hopes. That phone call, a complete accident, became a lifeline for both of them.
Section 5, Shared Silences. Their conversations continued every week. They talked about God's love, they explored the mysteries of faith, they shared their struggles and triumphs. Sometimes they didn't even need words. They found comfort in being silent together, a sign of how deeply they understood each other. Their friendship was a safe haven. It was a place where they could be themselves without judgment, only acceptance. Section 6, The Pull of the Heart. As their bond grew stronger, a question lingered. Shouldn't they meet to see each other face to face? After all, wasn't that what friends usually did?
Sister Annika struggled with this question. She longed to meet Aaron, to put a face to the voice.
But she also knew the importance of her vows and keeping their connection purely spiritual.
Section 7. A love without form. In a world where we often need to see and touch to feel connected, their bond was different. It was a love that went beyond the physical, a love without a shape or form. Arun also felt a deep longing. He often found himself thinking about their conversations, the silent moments that meant so much. He wanted to see the woman who brought him so much peace. She was like a reminder of all the good in the world. He treasured every moment they shared.
But he respected Sister Annika's devotion to her faith. He admired her dedication, knowing it was part of what made her special. He knew their friendship was something rare and precious. It was a connection beyond words or actions, a meeting of souls, unbreakable. To define it, to force it into the physical world, would weaken it. Their love was like the wind, invisible but felt, guiding them in ways they didn't fully understand.
They chose to remain as they were, connected by an invisible thread of faith. This thread, though delicate, was strong enough to overcome time and distance. It showed their understanding, respect, and unwavering trust in each other. Their friendship proved that true love doesn't need a physical form. It was a love that existed in the spaces between words, in shared silence, and in the quiet understanding that they were and always would be connected. Section 8. Finding God in each other. In the quiet moments of our lives, we often search for something bigger than ourselves, something that connects us to God and to each other. Sister Annika and Arun never met in person. They found each other in an unexpected way through letters and prayers, bridging the gap between their very different lives. Yet their story shows us the limitless nature of the human spirit. It shows how faith and hope can overcome any distance, creating a beautiful and profound connection. It reminds us that we can find comfort, friendship, and even love in the most surprising places. We find it in shared laughter, quiet reflection, and heartfelt conversations that stretch across continents. Their connection, built on faith and nurtured through conversation, brought them closer to God and to themselves. They found a safe space in each other's words, a place where their souls could connect and find peace. In a world that craves connection, their story reminds us that we are never truly alone. The bonds we create, even from afar, can feed our souls and remind us that we are all connected. Sometimes the greatest love stories are not written down but felt in our hearts. These stories are found in moments of understanding, shared silence, and unspoken words that touch us deeply. Sister Annika and Arun's story gives us hope. It reminds us that even when we feel alone, we can find connection and love. It teaches us that we can find God in each other by reaching out and opening our hearts. As we journey through life, let's remember their story and be inspired to look for God in the faces and hearts of those around us. In doing so, we find not only God, but also our truest selves.